Hello and welcome to the Blaston Commentary Series or something. I am your host, Robo President. This is the series where we go ahead and critique my awful Blaston gameplay. We talk about Blaston news, game theory, and Blaston gamecraft in general. And we do it all unscripted because scripts are for simps, mainly because I think I sound wooden when I read off a script. So we just do it live, as they say. Today we're just kind of doing a no-agenda gameplay analyzation. I think it's important that every now and then in the life of an aspiring Blastonian, maybe somebody who wants to work their way up the ranks, you get to get some pointers outside of my ramblings and get a chance to analyze the mind of my inner machinations. Or you I did that backwards, didn't I? I did. You analyze the inner machinations of my mind. So we're just going to go through game by game. This was a particular set of Q games. I typically play for about an hour a day, and we're just going to go through them and talk about them. And I don't know, maybe you'll love it, maybe you'll hate it. We'll do these every now and then, and we'll just do it live. All right, so we've got Slim Dickinson. He is quite slippery. This is a slippery opponent. Some people have very, very high dodging defense. I know that goes without saying. The poster child for this, and I know I've mentioned him before, being 24, but 24 has really good ground game. Slim Dickinson doesn't really play the ground a lot. He just is slippery. He's just a slippery, slim little Dickinson, as you can see. And what I've been trying to do is clamp the crap out of him. And even though I take the round from him, it wasn't exactly a smashing victory. I've been known to have strong defense, as they say. I don't know that's what they say. You know, the men behind the curtain, and the people that really control the things. Not me, but so maybe I just out-defensed him here, but man, I was not having a great time trying to hit him, and those Novas were not doing me any favors. Anybody who is trying to figure out how do I get good at Blaston, the first step, as we've discussed in the very, very first commentary, offense is king, but the second step is damage negation. Because the primary step in winning a battle is landing hits. It's hit rate. Consistent damage over all else. And then obviously, the higher the consistent damage you can do, the better, right? So that's why people who are really, you know, if you could land every Viper shot you ever did, you'd be an absolutely devastating, deadly god who would just dominate every match. But it's hard to land Viper shots because they're tiny and you don't get a bunch of them. So that's how game balance works. But consistent hit rate is best, so that is why the Hammer E and Bullet Hell is meta, because you maximize your potential for damage. And so, in this case, if you can mitigate an opponent's attempts to get consistent damage, then that is one way you can get the leg up on the competition. And so what Slim Dickinson is doing here is he's playing high defense, so he's combining his high dodging, and he's also topping Nova on top of that. And you can see in this round, he was actually doing very well, and he just biffed it a few seconds ago with that step out of bounds. So definitely was sort of a self-defeating prophecy there. And now he has to recover some of that ground, but I'm going to time him out, and he knows that. So he kind of takes a defeated stance here and lets himself take the L. So some really strong gameplay by Slim Dickinson there, but it wasn't enough to take the W. So we're going to go ahead and roll back into Q. I think after that game, I decided that I wasn't really having a great time with that loadout. It wasn't really getting the hit rate I was looking for, so I spiced it up a little bit. I wanted to, maybe it was too heavy, I don't know. So I was trying to just play around with it to make it a little bit lighter. Plus, I don't always feel like playing on meta all the time, so I do like to spice it up. So I dropped my slow hammer nade for pregnant hurricanes. you know. Those of you that aren't familiar with the lingo in the Discord, we lovingly call the split hurricane pregnant hurricanes, you know, because they blow up into little hurricanes, and it's an abomination raining down from you from the sky. I like that. Sometimes, depending on who you're playing, that one extra CD is nice. Plus, you get extra utility on the weapon. Has some nice drop blocking capability. So does the hammer nade, to be fair. Hammer nade is also good for drop blocking. But I don't know. I just wanted to try something different. Sometimes you just get bored when you use the same thing over and over and over and over. So we're going to try to make out with the next person we get, and it's Eights. But he wasn't having it. He wanted to cook some burgers and post freaking action figures in the Discord. So now Eights has an extreme offense build he goes for. His movements are very active. So he kind of tries to get in your face. He leans forward in with his knees. He's extremely aggressive, and he's going for double Vipers today. I can't recall if that's a signature move of his, but it definitely leans into this aggressive style that Eights will take. And the bounce Luma will definitely do him favors in that regard. So you'll see there, I try to drop block that Viper, and it like, I don't know if I just didn't time that shield right or it phased through, who knows. But now I need to recover that damage that I lost. So I'm just going to try to outclamp him because I know that my defense is stronger than Eights' defense. And generally my offense tends to be better. I'm just not as aggressive. Eights is more aggressive. My wildcat pushes are the only exception to that rule. But Eights will try to get up in my face more often than not. So I'm going to exploit that with upward clamping and just general trying to control the front of the podium. When you get somebody who's hyper aggressive, most of the time they're going to specialize in aggression. You're going to see later on we're going to have somebody who's known for having some of the strongest offense in queue, but their defense really sucks. It's very rare that you get somebody that's good at both things, and if they are good at both things, they end up being in the top 10 players. So yeah, generally most of your average players are going to tend to have really good defense, really good offense. It's not often that you get a jack of all trades, because your jack of all trades, those are the ones that rise to the top. That's not to say that you can't be really good at the game and have mastered one particular skill set. That's not true. But I mean like the tippy top, because we definitely have lots of good players who master one particular skill set. I'm just talking about like the tip of the Empire State Building antenna, as it were. Those are your everybody. They're good at everything all the time. So Eights is still going hyper aggressive, pushing forward, leaning in with the knees, trying to get me with those Viper hits. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to limit his access to the front of the podium with those majestic nades. The majestic nade being the most underrated nade, I think. I personally, this is what I think right now. If there was a hierarchy of nades at the moment, obviously hammer nade would be number one. Because you can do slow hammer nade, and it's like having a fourth clamp shot in your hand. So you combine that with hammer E, and you've got a fourth shot to your salvo. But then you've got the other nades, right? You've got lance nade, you've got avalanche nade, nova nade, and majestic nade. Now, previously, before this most recent update, avalanche nade was the way to go, and nova nade was decent. Hammer nade was kind of weak, and so on and so forth. Hammer nade was actually more of the supplementary nade. Now Majestic nade is kind of a great utility. For some reason, it's the good Majestic. It's better than in my opinion, it's better than Super Majestic because it doesn't overload your stupid cooldown. So you can see I'm denying access to the front of the podium. It doesn't let him lean in, and we time him out. So there we go. He goes in, and he's gonna go post weirdly cryptic messages in the Discord again. As per usual. It's his usual style and form. That's what he does. All right, let's see who we get next. We are going to get the one, the only, Vandam Loot. I know everyone's really excited for this match, for sure. I'm just kidding. So here we've got lasers. Looks like Vandam Loot is using the quad blue laser. If I was to pick any of the laser attachments at the moment, I think the quad blue laser is not the one to run. And the reason why is if you're gonna run something that doesn't last very long, you want damage. Damage laser lets you use it like a little hit scan sniper rifle. You combine that with clamping, especially if you got someone that likes to hike up into corners. You're gonna see some footage of this probably in the next episode. I used this exact loadout to great effect against some people with strong corner defense. It works. Now, the other laser attachments, like collision laser, I was not getting very much success. And quad laser just doesn't last long enough. Stock laser, I would even say, is better because it lasts longer and you'll get more damage. So use damage laser before any of those, and then stock, don't use quad blue. It needs some work. But then again, I don't know how you balance that out without making it cheesy. So who knows? Vandam Loot going with the double Vipers. Bounce Viper, we've talked about this before. Block those bounce Vipers, people. If you don't want to get hit in the back, you need to take time and priority to stop those bounce Vipers. Most of the time when someone uses them, they're going to put the bounce Viper in their loadout as a position, in a position of dealing damage as a priority item. So they're going to put stock in this. Most people will. And Vandam Loot is banking on this. His double Viper is where he's trying to deal the majority of his damage. He's kind of trying to use lasers for this, but lasers more as a disruption tool for whatever reason. But he's not really using it in concert with anything. But he really wants his Vipers to be doing the damage. So if you can dodge the Viper E's, which dodging Viper E's is much easier because they don't come and get you in the back, just block the bounce Vipers. That's what you need to focus on. Shoot them, drop block them. Even if in a pinch move, if you have to sacrifice a low CD weapon that still has ammo in it, do it. Because it's not worth 25 damage to the back, especially if you don't have the damage potential or if it's late in the match to get that damage back. So I'd say it's more worth sacrificing than getting hit for the 25. That's mainly where bounce Viper starts to fall apart, because most people don't count on you blocking them. And then if you block their bounce Vipers, then usually their loadout starts to just kind of crumble. So you're going to see that. I'll toss weapons into it. I'll do whatever I can. I sacrificed that majestic nade right there because I needed to do something. I couldn't let that thing get behind me. And even, to be honest, this late in the match, I probably could have taken one to the back, but weird things happen. I'm not going to take that chance. And you can see right there, too, this is exactly why I didn't want to take one in the back, because Vandam Loot gets a really strong hit there. And now the game's really close. Had I had taken one to the back, it would have made the match way closer than I would have liked. So we don't want that to happen. So you can see, and actually, he takes the round. And you can tell he's pretty excited about that. So pretty good job on his part there. He's cornering me with those Vipers and then coming in with a swing high Viper hit. If you want to get good Viper E shots, that's generally what you want to do, is you want to position your opponent where you want them and then swing in and hit them. So it's best when as a combo weapon more than anything else, I would say. So I think you guys hear my phone go off? I know everyone's gonna go, oh, Robo's phone went off. Yeah. Sorry guys, this is one take. I'm not editing it. I've got a life, okay? So deal with it. Okay. So now, what I've noticed, especially too, and This is a mistake that I want people to be aware of. If you get a round win on a high-level player, usually somebody that beats you, do not telegraph your same strategy over and over. Most high-level players know what you just took a round off them with and will actively try to stop you from doing that same move over and over again. I know how Venom Loot just took me out last round because he's trying to corner me with those Viper shots. So now I'm going to try my best to not let him do that, and he's going to keep trying to do it over and over. But you can see that it's not working for him as well this time. And so I see this happen a lot. Just a lot of times someone will get that one round win, and then they get that feeling of like, hey, like, you know, this is working, like I have a chance, and then they'll go back to that same strategy that they just did, and I don't think it's worth it just to do it again. Just be careful. They know it's sometimes doesn't work twice. All right, we've got Poo on Shu. Now, generally when I face Poo on Shu, I don't like facing him without a hammer nade. And because the reason why is if you want to hit Poo on Shu, you gotta corner him in the podium. Because I feel like you can corner people with a majestic nade, but he's tall. He's a tall guy, so he has a lot of range of movement. And so you'll see what I'll do here is I'm trying to get these upward swings because I want to push him up into a top corner. And he has really subtle dodging. He does little tiny minimal movement, and he has really good drop blocking. So you have to overwhelm his defenses through volume of fire. It's not going to work through trapping. Doesn't work as well with Novas, and it doesn't work as, I mean, you can. I have gotten him with Novas, but it doesn't. I mean, most of your success, in my personal opinion, is upward clamping, and then pushing in with Wildcat or whatever, because Pooh's most dangerous combo is this Raptor E Wildcat push that he waits for. That's what he tries to do. He waits for that combo and then does that. But see, look at those tiny little movements. So you want to try to push him into a corner, but if you don't have the extra bullets to add pressure to him, you're not going to be able to hit him. And so that's why I really wanted that hammer nade when I'm facing him. Just extra bullets or volume of fire. There's that intense pressure on that combo I'm talking about. It's not ideal. And the Majestic nade is not the nade, I think, to use against Pooh. So you'll see there, I'm trying to push him up into a corner, but I don't have the extra firepower from a nade to give me that damage edge. And so now I have to face his onslaught, and I lose the round there. So just not the loadout that I wanted to trade him with. I'm trying to make the most of the situation here, so I'm gonna think, okay, we're gonna try to clamp him. We're gonna come up, so we try to corral him into the corner, and then we're gonna try to shoot upward. But there's those little tiny movements that he's so good at, and I try to clip him on the shoulder. But when he's got that little Aegis shield in his hands, he knows exactly what he wants to do, and that is block your crap. So now he's got bullets in the air, and he's got his freaking combo. He goes in for the kill, but he does a pretty decent job of well, that time I did a pretty decent job of blocking that combo. Normally, that combo does a pretty good job of messing me up. Sorry guys, my monitors are dying. I'm gonna run out of power. I must plug in USB-C. I really need better headphones, guys. I'm broke. I'm doing too many house renovation projects. And when you do these things on just one take, one cut, you know, you got to work with what you got. Okay, so now you can see here I'm on the ropes. It's not good. And Pooh knows it. Pooh absolutely knows it too. Pooh's the kind of player too, when he knows when he's got you cornered. It's not the match for me, and there it goes. So another good game. He's got me. Does his little wave. So, what I'm going to try to do is I want to get him again, but I'm going to change up my loadout to face him. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try to exploit that corner defense. So, we're going to go for the hammer nade, and then we're going to go for the raptor. We're going to keep the shield. We're going to keep the hammer. And we're just going to go for a stock meta, pretty stock meta loadout, except we're not taking Raptor E this time because I want to keep the cooldown low. I know Josie's watching this and cringing.
Take the Raptor E. You take it. You take it. You need that extra second because it's more worth it.
But I'm not using the Raptor offensively. This is a defense tool with extra counter pressure in this case. So it's not where I want my damage to come from. But so I didn't get Pooh this time. I got make way for Willie, who now begins to hide behind the bunker. So now I have to make way for his Willie. So yeah. So maybe you're watching this and you're wondering, okay, well, how do I deal with bunker players? You might be a new, well, maybe not newish. Who knows? I don't know. But you might be of the opinion that when you get matched with a bunker player, you're just butt flustered. You're like, what do I do? Well, one, catch the bunker handle, because most of the time, bunker players, most of the time, not all of them, most of the time they're kind of brain dead, and they throw the handle at you. Catch it and hold on to it. When you catch a weapon, it will not respawn for the other person until it goes out of play. Hold on to it for dear life. You're going to be down a weapon for a little bit, but use that to take their bunker out of play. Wait for your combo, your perfect combo to spawn in, and then beat the freaking crap out of them while they don't have their bunker to spawn in, because it takes, 8 freaking seconds to spawn in, right? So that's strategy number one. That's simple strategy number one. Simple strategy number two is get good at your ellipse shots. So you can always shoot around it if you came packing with the right amount of ellipse weapons or grenades. Step three, maybe you came packing with a high collision weapon, so you can shoot it. If you brought for example, a bunch of shotguns like I did in this case, just shoot it. Just shoot the crap out of it. And then it will usually die. And it'll die fast. And remember, it's got 8 seconds on cooldown. So if you brought high collision weapons, generally you're going to kill it faster than it can spawn in. And a lot of times bunker players, they want to hide behind it to stall. They're stalling for time. And don't let them. And in that case, Willie did not get a chance to stall. So, he gone. He gone. All right, we got Mr. Slim Dickinson back again for another game. All right, so he goes in for a quick Viper hit. A lot of people will do this. It's not a bad strategy. When a game starts, they'll either go for a snowball or a Viper hit and just try to go for a quick pop. It's not a bad strategy. It's certainly viable. So, if you realize your opponent looks away for a second, get a cheeky little hit in maybe. Who knows? You might get that damage. So, now what I've noticed here in this game is Mr. Slim has put a lot more ground game up than he did the game before. I think he wants that W. I don't think he wants the L. He is ready. He's out for Robo's blood. He's going in for some overhead Viper shots. Overhead Viper shots are a great way when you pin someone down, you swing that Viper down. If you can go into the loadout screen and practice that shot, it's a very deadly way to get consistent Viper E damage if you can get good at it. And some players certainly are. So, but you could see too, watching his body movements, he's become a lot more sharp. He's become a lot more deliberate. He wants the W. But All it takes is just some disruption with that hammer E to kind of throw him off balance. But he's really relying on that Nova cycling to try to disrupt my attempts to clamp him. So I'm gonna grab his shield because I realize what's happening here. He's trying to out defend me, and I'm gonna try to slow down his cycle time, and then I'm gonna try to do a push here, and we're gonna try to get some last second damage in, and then we're gonna throw some stuff, and I'm gonna try not to get hit. I've got 6 seconds, so all I need to do is just not get hit, and I don't think it's enough, and it's not enough. He gets a W. He dropped his controller, so he gets a W right there. So now it's time to stop playing around. It's time to go full power Robo. So we're gonna try to do a clamp up top. He does a good job of negating the grenade. So he is not messing around. Look at the power behind those those snowball throws. He has a vendetta, but he steps out of bounds. I'm telling you, again, the out of bounds stuff, way too overzealous, because I can tell that was I mean, typically it's not intentional by any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, that was, like, really touchy. I could tell that if he was to watch this, he'd be like, yeah, that's why I lost. That's it right there. I lost because of that. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to mock, but... but yeah, no, dude, that sucks. That freaking sucks. Like, make it exponential. Look, right there, yeah, that he knows that rounds up. I mean, now I just need to pretty much... I mean, he hasn't gotten a single point of damage, so he's not exactly jazzed about his current state of affairs this particular round as opposed to the last one. But we're just gonna try to... I think I'm just trying to go and perfect this particular one. So let's see. We've got some drop blocking in there. Is he gonna get that 1 point of damage before I end this? Like I said, he's gone back to being slippery. He's a slippery little Dickinson. And oh, Vipers. Ooh. And no, I do not perfect it. So, man, sticky, slippery, and sticky at the same time. There we go. There it is. All right, now we're tied up. Now we're going for all the beans. The final round, match point. He's pulling up his little handguards. He's ready. Let's see Slim Dickinson's unlocked final form. So, starting out with the Nova defense. So he's trying to proactively do a push. But, man, that overhead Viper is gnarly. But I'm going to try to not let him set up those Novas. So I'm going to try to just negate those with shotgun fire and shield fire. So we're going to do that one more time again. I want to... Well, I don't want to deal with those Novas when they get in my space. They're going to be way more dangerous when they're up close, obviously. But if you're having trouble dealing with tank Novas, guys, and look, this doesn't mean that they don't need to be worked on. But at the time, right now, kill them. Kill them. I know that the strategy is to ignore them, but kill them. Freaking kill those things. Like, get rid of a few of them, and you'll have a better time ignoring them. Like, at least 2 of them. Like... Hopefully you came packing with something. So, there we go. So now we got some damage on him. Oh, I had to jump clear over that snowball with an actual freaking jump. Because he is trying to actually murder me. He wants to come over to my house and eviscerate me. So, we're going to keep trying to kill a few of those. I'm going to let that one slide by because there's no sense in killing that one at that point. Any point of damage is good damage at this point because I can barely hit him to save my life because he's so slippery. He's greasy. This guy's greasy. He's a greasy man. He's like buttered up. He's like, what's his face from, he's like Frank from Always Sunny coming out of the couch. Oh my goodness. You cannot hit this guy. It's nuts. All buttered up. Anyways, it's either that or I'm just bad. But there it is. Okay. So, he wants to point out, he's like, I am number one. I got one. Because remember, it's not flipping off if it's number one, right, guys? Right? Who wouldn't want a number one? I would want a number one. I don't know about you guys. I would want a number one. I think so. I think it's a good gesture. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think anyone would want number one. So we're gonna change our loaded up a little bit. So I think I'm gonna let's see here. So we're going for the cursed bounce. I think I got tired of dealing with Novas. So we're going with cursed Luma. Going with Raptor to help with Nova stopping power. So we're trading up. We're trading up CD time to deal more stopping power to Novas. So more Nova killing power. All right, we've got Blast Yo Face. It's coming to blast my face. Okay. Oh, there goes my phone again. I won't hear the end of this. Robo's phone kept going off. He has a life? Oh my gosh, he forgot to silence his phone before recording? What a nerd. I always remember to silence my phone. Because I don't get recordings. Or I don't get messages because I don't have any friends. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm making a straw man. Okay. Alright, so we've got Blast Your Face. Blast Your Face. Look, everyone's got the freaking Novas. You want to know why? Because they're better than shields. Anyways. Yeah, so I wasn't going to let these Novas fly anymore. I was just tired of dealing with them. I just didn't feel like it. So he gets an absolutely nasty little Viper shot in. But he now has to deal with my clamp damage that I've done. But this laser placement, man, I don't know how. Like, that laser placement was pretty basic. But, man, it did a ton of damage to me. So that purple laser was gnarly. So, and then there you go. See, absolutely. So there he goes again with that little basic laser placement. But then I step into it like a nub. I mean, at the time when I was playing, it seemed a lot more like, man, he got me. But just watching that just now, I walked into that. I don't know what I was thinking. Whatever. So, okay, we're not gonna let him get this. You can't keep getting away with this with these freaking lasers. So I would say if you're so let's talk about lasers for a second. So if you want to use multiple trapping lasers, you either need to use stock blue laser, both lasers, or just purple laser. Don't use quad laser, quad blue laser. Just don't. It sucks. Sorry, it's not good. It's just not good. Blast Your Face is demonstrating this very well. That purple laser is still very good. Like I have to, even though I'm like popping out of the lasers very fast, he's still doing a ton of damage. And it does not matter. Like it still hurts. Even just to get out of the laser so I can get out of his like weird little combo. I pay for it. I don't get out scot-free. So, yeah, just don't use the stupid blue quad laser. For the love of all that's good and holy. It's just not good. So there he goes again. So nice little trapping. He's got me in there. And oh my goodness gracious. He is not letting me go. I think the problem here, I'm not using Novas. I need to be using Novas for this. Ah! No! He's got me good. Yeah, there it is. Okay, he got me. So I had to give it to him. That he got me fair and square. But I wasn't gonna let him off that easy. I was gonna show him how cheap one can be. So all you have to do is just adjust the loadout a little bit. So I'm gonna counter his loadout completely. So we're just gonna spice this up a little bit. So we're gonna bring the Novas in. I don't even need to counter his Novas. I'll just bring mine. Oh, but hold on. Here comes what's his face to ruin my plans. Hold on here. Wait for it. Yeah, there he is. I knew I smelled stink. It started to get sweaty. So it smelled like freaking sunflower, like melted sunflower bags that had been left in a 150-degree car in the summer heat. There he is, and Mountain Dew and Monster cans. Yelkel, the man himself, the glass cannon of Blaston, the master of offense, but the horrible sucker of defense. Yeah, this was not the loadout that I necessarily wanted to be using against Yelkel. The Novas help. The Novas definitely help. For sure. But with Yelkel, you want Nova cycle speed. So, because you want to... Yelkel is going to do as much offense as humanly possible. And he's going to derive this from his Vipers. And also from, well, whatever trap he tends to be using. So you want to keep Novas up as much as possible because you're going to rely on those to block his pushing. Now, normally, for anybody else, and unless you're, you know, JJ or somebody, Hammer E would be a good decision to take into pretty much any loadout, but Hammer E is not doing me any favors because this slowed down my loadout too much, because if I use the meta loadout against Yelkel, he pierces through me too fast. Like, he just punches through my defenses. Because I don't have enough, my shielding doesn't stay up long enough, because it stays up for 0.8 seconds and then he just shoots me with the Viper. Or if I use Cortex, he just shoots through the shield. So I need those Novas to block the Vipers. And then since I'm using the Hammer E in this case, it slowed down my loadout too much for me to cycle the Novas over and over and over again. So this was an anti-blast your face loadout. This was not an anti-Yelkel loadout. So this was not what I wanted. Not ideal. So we're going to come and get some revenge on Yelkel. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Smelkel is going to feel the pain. For sure. Just spoiler alert. He will not get away with this for, you know, our intrepid viewers. But I'm still going to try my best. So, man, his bounce vibe replacement is very good. He's one of the few people that I'll see that actually bounces it off the ground. Most people go for brain dead back bouncing, but Yelkel does a good job of bouncing it off the ground, which is quite scary when he does that. But there you go. See, so corner pushing, but then there's that absolutely nasty offense, and then there's those Vipers, and he just doesn't let up. And there it is, getting hit in the back, and he sits there. Sure of himself, does his little bye, see ya. So I will be back for him. Don't you worry. So we're gonna change up this loadout a little bit. So we're gonna try to bring down the CD of this loadout so we can counter both of them at the same time. We're gonna go after Blast Your Face and we're gonna go after Yelkel. So we're gonna drop the Hammer E, and instead we're gonna do our damage dealing from the Bounce Luma, and we're gonna do it from the, I believe, let's see here. Are we going to do Raptor E? Is that what we're doing? Let's see what I end up picking. We're doing Majestic Nade, so we're bringing that down more. Oh, okay. Do I do Raptor E? No. Interesting. Okay, so I wanted to go to 3.7. Okay. Interesting take I'm going for here. So I'm going to try to do the majority of the... I'm packing the Bounce Luma for 2 utilities. So for building destruction, obviously, so to wreck people's dumb little shield things. Because it still hasn't been fixed for some reason, and also for back bouncing because it's brain dead, but also to keep the rotation time down, because let's face it, that 2 seconds is pretty huge. So we're gonna start with some proactive setup. So we're just gonna start with a blitzkrieg real fast. So one thing that Stock Hammer is really good at is you can just set up a really quick wall of bullets and then push with Wildcat. A lot of people in the first phase of a match, while they're trying to set up their combo, do not expect this, and it's a good way to just get quick, cheap damage right out of the gate. So a lot of times I'll use that to just get a quick lead. And also it's a good way to, because sometimes, like, psychological warfare works in Blaston. I don't know if you know this, because you can demoralize your opponent. So, like, get early damage quick and often, and sometimes you can throw them off their game. So, all right, so we've done just that. So now we're going to pop some of those stupid freaking Novas, and we're going to return fire with our own stupid freaking Novas. And then we're going to try to trap him in with our lovely Majestic Nade. Add in some extra sugar and spice, and then just start laying fire with the Wildcat. He does a pretty good job of dodging, though. But some extra Bounce Luma will bring him down into the red. And then we're just going to do it again one more time. And that ends that match. So the point of that loadout is trapping, and then you're going to get the majority of your damage from the Lumabow and the Wildcat. Those are your damage dealers. So you're doing your trapping with the hammer, you're doing your damage with, you're doing your trapping with the Nova, and your defense comes from the Nova. Your defense also comes from the Raptor. You're doing your trapping from the Majestic Nade, and then you're doing your damage sometimes you're doing your damage from the Raptor if you don't have anything else out. And then you get to do your main damage should be coming from the Wildcat and should be coming from the Luma. So, but the loadout has a ton of versatility, and so I like this as a pretty interesting loadout at the time. So now he's given me his gun. He's given me his cursed Viper. So when someone gives me their loaded gun that is their damage dealer, I make it a point to hold on to it because now I want to end him with it. And there it is. You needed to know. So that is the end of that match. So he needed to know the taste of how it felt to be killed with one's own gun. Let's see who we get again. I'm hoping for Smelkel. Come on, do I smell stink? Smell stinky. I smell wet hair. There he is. He has arrived with the wet-haired, smelly, curly boy himself. His lanky arms and all. All right. So now we're ready. So I'm going to try to blitzkrieg him a little bit. And so that works because, remember, Yelkel has bad defense. He has really strong offense. And he's going to try to gank me. And he lets himself right into the barrier wall because he wants that damage so bad. He walks straight in. And now he's already almost dead. Because literally he just couldn't help himself. But remember, don't get too cocky with Yelkel. As you can see right there, I took a Viper shot because he's got crazy offense. So we just need to be careful now. At this point, it becomes a war of attrition. So, because now look at that. He's got so much offense and he's got such good Viper accuracy that he can still change the tide of a match. So look at that. He still pulled it off. And he's sitting there laughing to himself. So you can tell I think to myself I was pretty flustered that my anti-Yelkel loadout, but it wasn't working. But I just pulled myself together, and we're not gonna let him get away with this. It's not gonna work. So he gets some bounce Viper hits in. He's dancing around because he's feeling pretty confident with himself. And we're gonna try to trap him in. And he comes up front. Usually with Yelkel, he'll do this thing where he gets way too confident and he comes right up to the front of the podium, turns around. I don't know why he does this. He's one of the few players who does this. And he walks up to grab a weapon. And he, lets himself take the L on that round. I don't know why he did that. Just one of the weird mysteries of Mr. Kell. So we're going to try to negate damage there because he wants that damage. So right here I'm deliberately setting up as much spam as I can. But he still does a good way of weaseling himself out. And then we trade some blows because he's got that excellent Viper form. He goes in to try to do that weird backwards majestic thing. And so then there he goes. So he tries to go up front. One thing you can do is you can always try to force Yelkel up to front of podium. That's where he's weakest because he doesn't have strong defense. So force him up close and you can get some easy damage that way. So you can see here, we forced him up front again. He's taking hits. He's going to try to pop that in. And then now all I need to do now is just set up some defense. He's got no Viper. And there it is. He's going to, I'm just going to wave goodbye. He wags his finger, wave goodbye. And he gone. So, but I was not satisfied. I wanted him again. One win is not enough. So we're going to try to go get him again and get you guys another W in the bag against Smelkel. Eventually. It's at some point because it doesn't work that well. So here's Blast Yo Face again. Coming back for more. So we're going to keep using the anti-Blast Your Face / Yelkel loadout. mainly because we're trying to counter the lasers and the Vipers, and keep the CD short enough so we can cycle the Novas while still dealing enough damage to deal with their own offense, right? Because Hammer E just wasn't fast enough in my opinion, and Yelkel's offense pierces straight through my Meta loadout, my rendition of the Meta loadout anyway. When I say my rendition, my ability to use it, I suppose. So what we're doing here, so Blasterface is pushed into a corner. He's going to try to use this like trifecta beam pattern again because he knows this works, and he tries to swing in high with that Viper E. It's a pretty effective strategy. He's already got me on the ropes this match, but I don't want him to have it. So I'm going to keep holding on as much as I can. There he goes to set up the shot, and I'm going to go and dodge right underneath that. Try to negate some of those falling balls, those cheese balls. And you can see there, I don't know what hit him. I think it was one of my cheese balls. I think desperately try to dodge some of those things, and then oh my lordy! So there was that was a good Viper. That Viper would have been the end of the match right there, or the end of that round right there. And then going in for those Luma shots. Blasterface is man, he's gotten pretty good lately too. I think one thing when I was practicing my Viper shots, I was trying my best to do that weird thing that people do where they swing their Viper around and then they shoot, because I didn't want to telegraph my Viper shots. When you telegraph your Viper shots, even if you have really accurate Viper shots, I tend to know what you're gonna do. It's kind of like a snake about to attack for a bite. I know where it's coming from. You're gonna, yeah, you know what I mean, guys? Like I know you guys know what you mean. You ever seen Woody when Woody does like his weird little like ninja sword swing thing around, where he's about to swing the Viper like a sword down on you and cut you in half, but then he swings the Viper and it comes from a different direction. I think Polly does it too. Polyon does it as well. He does this like katana like and then swings it down. I think that's like the thing to do because you fake out your opponent. Yeah, do that. That's like a cool move. Anyways, so Blasterface going for the ground defense, but obviously I really don't want him to hide behind those Novas. So we're gonna, the combination of that Nova and Luma there, that was absolutely nasty, doing a ton of damage. He's using the heavy Hurricane mod. I mean, it's not the worst attachment in the world, but I don't know if it's what I would have used for this particular setup. So, but you can tell, I mean, he's got 1 HP left, so at this point, I should have just tossed a weapon at him. And now I'm just messing with him. Let's see. It's just, I think I just poke him with a Luma or something. Yeah, there it is. Poke him with the bow. And bada bing, bada boom. All right, I think we're coming up to our last match of the night, if I'm not mistaken. Last match of the day. And that is gonna, because I can smell the stink coming through the screen as I commentate. And that can only mean one thing, and one thing only. There's a very sweaty man coming back to the podium to face me again. He has returned. The man, the myth, the legend. The final boss of all things Toxic and Blaston, now that, well, you know, he's gone. The one, the only, the man himself. He's here. He has arrived. It's him, Smelkel. So, all right, he's tapping his wrist. He's running out of time or something. I don't know what he's trying to communicate to me. Do you ever know what people are trying to mime to you? I don't. I can't even tell half the time. Anyways, okay, so we try to go for some Blitzkrieg action. We want to try to get some early damage right out of the gate, because remember, early damage can have sort of a demoralizing effect. Then we're going to pin him in, and try to get some Luma damage in, but he goes right underneath and counter pressures with the Viper, although I dodged under that salvo, so that was good. So we're off to a good start. But remember with Yelko that don't get overconfident, because he can turn the tide of a match very quickly with his crazy offense damage potential. Like, he'll turn it around fast, so you have to keep the pressure on, and you have to keep the defense on. So there's that. That round is over. I think there was a number one. Was that a number one? Did he just call me number one? Oh, thank you, my guy. I appreciate that. Because remember, who wouldn't? I would appreciate it. I don't know about you guys. I think anyone would appreciate it if you can call number one. Anybody. So now he's doing that same laser thing that Blaster Face does. That's kind of interesting. I didn't actually realize that when I was playing, but watching this again, he's doing the same exact thing. So he's starting off this strong with that laser salvo into the Super Majestic and then catching my Majestic Nade. But I'm able to make up some of that difference with the Wildcat, so I'm going to try to proactively set up on my left Nova wall and then try to pepper in on the right so I can pin him and then do some damage, but he ducks underneath and then counter pressures with his, his offense. But I am able to, get through it. But it's still way too close. This is, I mean, when it's close like this with Yelko, I don't like that. I just don't. I want to try to keep my distance as much as possible with the health bar. So we're just going to keep putting as much pressure as possible, and then watch those back bounces. Do another. We're going to try to set up more. So before I go into the bow, I'm going to set up more trapping, and he gets an absolutely nasty hit with the Viper. I mean, I don't even know what just happened. He hit me with it like, I don't know what happened. It felt like it went around, but it must have clipped me right on the very tip of the shoulder. So pretty wild hit. So now it's down to the wire. It's for all the money. So, all right. So we've got him pinned to the ground, but this is not an ideal situation because he's not pinned the way I'd like, and then now all my weapons are gone, and now I'm the one pinned down. And now he got some gnarly hits on me just now. So I've got a ton of ground to make up. But somehow he did a ton of damage to himself because he can't help himself and be way too overconfident. I don't know if he stepped out of bounds or what, but he helped level the playing field somewhat. So I'm going to sacrifice a Nova just to stop that bounce, because I really don't want to get hit in the butt right now. It's not what I want. We're going to set up some flak and then go in and hit him, and that is it. It is over. See you later. See ya, my smelly man. Until next time. All right, thank you for joining me on the Blaston commentary or something. I am your host, Robo President. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay analysis. Maybe you learned something. You probably didn't. I know I didn't. But be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Peace.